Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Zerina Derveni. She is a highly respected life coach who is dedicated to empowering women to unlock their fullest potential. Welcome, Zerina. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me, Brad.
It is my pleasure and my honor. I am so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today to share a little bit about the beautiful light you put out into the world through all the women you're helping, as well as share a little bit about your story and your journey. So with that being said, let's jump right in. I'd love to start out and ask you, what was the catalyst moment that cracked you open and revealed your calling to guide women into their power?
So I think it was a series of events, to be honest. It wasn't this dramatic moment for me, but it started with my career, where I was in a place every 2-3 years working for a new company where I felt this inner voice saying, is this it? Is this my life? And just to provide more context, I was working corporations and I had a desire to climb the corporate ladder, I think like most people. And I just, even though I was feeling these achievements, right, reaching these milestones, deep down, I was thinking there has to be more purpose. There has to be more value to my life. So I think it was a series of 3 of those events happening where in the last company I worked for, I said, okay, no more. There obviously seems to be a problem that's happening internally and I needed to make a shift. And then I started my self-discovery journey, which is what I now coach women on, and figuring out what it is that I wanted to do, and more importantly, who it is that I wanted to be. So I think professionally, that was definitely the greatest impact. And of course, relationships as well was another significant milestone that I had to reach too, and learning from behaviors that I was repeating and making a stop there.
But also having the self-awareness to realize that you needed to make a change, I think is incredible. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for moments like that. And I think that's something that we need to work on and practice more, and also celebrate that we're able to step into that self-awareness and action it as well. Because sure, you can know and you can see and you can be aware that it's happening, but it's then about taking the aligned action to make the changes, which is the key and the important part.
Exactly. Yeah. And interesting enough, the self-discovery process that I teach, it starts with the awakening. So self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
But many of us stop there and we don't go into the next phase, which is the unlearning. And that's when the growth and the messiness, your experiences are actually valued. Yeah.
That also speaks to the fact that a lot of people don't want to look inside because they don't like what they'll see.
Yeah.
So it's about being able to do that. So kudos to you for doing that. And now paying it forward and helping women start that journey into self-discovery. I love it. So how has this or these experiences helped shape the Zerina you are today, both personally and professionally?
So I think like most intelligent women, we think or we assume that clarity comes from thought. So a lot of us are overthinking, we're feeling emotions of anxiety, of uncertainty. What I've realized now to date is that clarity actually comes from experiences, not from thought. So it's valuing those experiences, valuing those common behaviors that at that time didn't serve me well, but I did the best that I could. and most people do the best that they could. So understanding that clarity doesn't just happen from reading the best books out there or thinking it through all night. It really does happen when you experience things and you have that internal moment or that internal alignment moment.
Yeah. So what then would you say was the biggest or the most valuable takeaway or lesson for you through these experiences?
I think I had, and this is when I was going through my ugly growth journey. I think
Ugly, messy journey.
oh gosh, I think I had a good sense of confidence growing up, which I think contributed a lot to me being able to succeed professionally. But I did not have a clear sense of self-worth. And the biggest learning that I would take away from that was understanding my self-worth without any achievement. It's that internal alignment. So that's probably been the biggest learning. And it's a very sensitive topic, even when I bring it up, because most of us assume our self-worth are based on the achievements.
Yeah.
But understanding, it's based on stripping away everything and valuing yourself still. And there's a lot of resistance when the word self-worth comes up because most of us assume we have it. So I think that's been probably the biggest learning.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the fact that the self-worth is tied to the achievements. How many awards have I gotten? How many plaques do I have on the walls behind me? What I have achieved? Where am I in the corporate ladder? All of these different things, when really it all starts here within us. The self-love and learning to love ourselves, which is not an easy journey. That takes a lot of work. And I don't care who you are, every single person on the planet struggles with that. Some get through it quicker, some learn quicker, some's journey into self-love is a lot shorter than others, but every single person on this planet struggles with it. I don't care who you are. And it takes a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's so important because it's the foundation for everything. Everything starts here within us.
It does. Yeah.
It's key. So what drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
Definitely the value that I bring, how I serve people. I used to chase significance for a very long time, subconsciously, of course, but now really it's contributing. So what value can I bring? How can I serve others? And that's been my greatest purpose. And that's what drives me every day, even on days where I'm tired and we don't feel like doing things. It's always that mindset of how can I create value at whatever capacity. So it's been my greatest motivator.
I love it. Now, what does unlocking your fullest potential truly mean to you beyond the buzzwords, the reels, the highlights, the mantras, all of that stuff? What does that truly mean?
So for me, it means being versus performing or doing. So if you're able to truly understand who you are and what your values are and what your purpose is, then you can truly unlock your potential. I think a lot of us relate it to skill set. And although there is importance to that, I don't want to take away from that.
Yeah.
But really, it's peeling back the layers and understanding who you are and who you want to be versus what you're doing. And I think once you have that internal understanding, then your potential, you can unlock it and go as far as you want, really.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. And I think to remember that we are human beings, not human doings. We get that confused a lot because it's all about this hustle culture bullshit. And, oh, I have to keep going. I have to keep pushing. I have to keep doing more and more. No, that's not what it's about at all. That's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah.
You can still achieve all that you want to achieve without being caught up in that hustle culture shit and that way of living, because you are going to burn out. Undoubtedly, it is going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And this is probably one of the common conversations I have with my clients. It's let's get rid of the tasks. Like you're never going to finish that task list. What are your priorities? Like one to three a day. And I get very specific on this with them because we have that mindset of the more we do, the better it is.
Yeah.
We're burning out. We're not being ourselves. Yeah, I couldn't
And that
agree
list
more.
will continue to grow. It does. You will always be adding things to the list. So if you can knock one or two off in a day, great, good for you. But this speaks to another piece, and you touched on it about celebration. We have to celebrate those wins. A friend of mine calls it calls her to-do list, she calls it the ta-da list. So she's happy to knock one or two things off, and then it's ta-da, I did this today, and great. Let's celebrate it. Let's celebrate our accomplishments today, what we got done today, no matter if it's only one thing or if it's 5 things on that list will never end because we're
Right.
constantly adding to it.
Oh, I love that concept. Yeah, no, it's so true.
Yeah, for sure. What are the hidden costs of playing small? And how do you help women recognize that they're doing exactly that?
Ooh, this is a interesting question, especially when you're dealing with women. I think when we're playing small, we're again performing or doing, right? So
Mhm.
we're in this subconscious mindset of just repeating old behaviors, old emotions. And in our mind, we're leaving uncertainty to the universe. And a lot of times I'll have conversations with clients where they obviously can't see their blind spots, but they're saying, oh, if something happens, great. If not, I'm just going to keep doing something that they're just not fulfilled in.
Mhm.
So when you're playing small, you're not only missing opportunities and not only are you not being open to maybe opportunities that are more in alignment with you, you're wasting a lot of time. You're repeating patterns that are not serving you. So, really, I think time and self worth are really tied to playing small when in the present moment you think you're just going with the flow or leaving things to manifestation or the universe. I think there's a bit of that toxic positivity talk that's out there that women seem to feel comfortable with. But in reality, you got to go out there and get the life that you really want and you got to make some moves. So playing small is not helping you. If anything, it's backtracking you.
Yeah, exactly. We can manifest anything we want, but you can't just sit back and expect everything to drop in your lap. It's not going to happen. It does not work that way. You have to put in the work to get there. You have to set the intention. You have to take aligned action to make things happen. But if you do that, you can accomplish anything. And I believe that absolutely anything is possible for anybody as long as you're willing to do the work and make it happen for yourself. No one else can do it for you. You are the only one that can control that and make that happen. So get off your ass and fucking make it happen. You only have one life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make it the best life you possibly can. You can have anything. There is more than enough abundance. And I think this ties into the whole competition mindset and all of these things where I can't do that. There's too many of this people out. There's too many people doing this that I'm interested in. And who am I to compete? And no, there's more than enough abundance and there's more than enough work to go around for everybody. I don't care what line of work you're in, what your business is about. No one else is you. That's your superpower.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. No, it's so true. And I think sometimes I have to provide perspective where it's like you can easily be in the same spot in the next 4 years if you
Mhm.
continue doing life without intention. So you mentioned
Yeah.
intention,
Mhm.
intentional living. And I think that's huge. And I think we don't need to necessarily know our next steps right away, but
No,
we should know our intentions.
for
So,
sure. And
yeah,
it's a huge mindset shift.
for, sh-
Definitely.
for sure.
What do you think is one of the most common lies that women tell themselves that does keep them stuck? And what's the truth that sets them free?
I think it's probably has to do, I'm going to say the manifestation thing again, the universe. And you laugh, Brad, but really it's a common conversation that we have when we're speaking to women. There is this concept that if we allow things to the universe, things are going to unfold. When in reality, nobody is going to save you. No. So I think really having the clarity of your purpose, having
Mhm.
the clarity of your values, knowing where you want to go the next year to 5 years really is something that's really important. And I wish more women knew that. I think it helps align and create more purpose. That way, you're not using time to think about nonsense. You're actually contributing to the value of your
Mhm.
lives and quality of your lives.
So you actually encounter women that think that if they just sit back, the universe will take care of them. Like they don't have to put in the work. Like the universe will just drop everything in their laps.
Yeah, no, it's not that crazy, but there is a sense of them trying and trying and maybe
Mhm.
not getting results because they're
Mhm.
just not in the right environment, let's just say, or they're not in the right relationship. So they face burnout. And
Okay.
I think the next step for people usually is, okay, let's try something different. So they don't
Right.
take the time to reflect back and they almost allow the universe or other people to
Mhm.
select for them what the next
Right.
step is. So
Right.
there is this notion of being picked, or this
Mhm.
notion of allowing the universe to guide you when we're
Right.
feeling stuck or lost. And in reality, stillness is powerful.
For absolutely.
Taking a step back, going back to my phase of self-discovery. Once you have
Mhm.
that awakening, let's do some unlearning. Let's do some understanding. So there is definitely this understanding that yes, the universe is powerful, but you have to be intentional. You can't just leave it to the universe. So
It's done in unity with in concert with the universe. It's not just the universe. You have to be part of that process. And you have to be, no, like you said, no one's coming to save you. You have to be your own damn superhero. Put the fucking cape on and do it. You have to do it.
right.
Otherwise, you are going to be in the same place that you were last year, the year before. You can do it. You are capable. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But you have to be willing to take the aligned action and do the work.
Yeah,
Period. There's no
exactly.
other way around it.
Absolutely. And just to add a little bit more context,
Mhm.
people are fearful, right? There are
Yeah.
limiting beliefs. It's not that they're
Yeah.
lazy, it's they're
No.
fearful. And
Mhm.
I think that fear is definitely is what's keeping them back. And it's unfortunately more powerful than their ability to move forward.
For sure. Fear of failure. But like you said, it's about being in the stillness. Take a few minutes to sit with yourself and reflect and think about, why am I here? Why have I not moved forward? What can I do to move forward? And it's about working with people, with women like yourself, coaches who have been through it, that can share their experience and their knowledge and all of these things that they've been through to help. Because let's be honest, we cannot do this alone. It's impossible. We do need the support of others, whether that's a community, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's a coach, a mentor, a guy, whatever it is. We as human beings are not meant to do this alone. It's impossible. You can't. We are meant to do things in community with one another.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
For
No,
sure.
couldn't agree more. The impact is greater with the involvement of
Yeah,
others, community.
absolutely.
Yeah. Support. Yeah.
Our voices are so much louder when we have others with us. What does feminine leadership look like to you? And how do we teach women that power doesn't have to come from force?
I love this question. So I have been able to successfully succeed in my executive roles in the past by tapping into my emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They always say EQ versus IQ. I think as a woman and someone who is in touch with their feminine side understands the power of being able to emotionally connect,
Mm-hmm.
understand the emotions of others is huge. And that's what makes us different from, let's say, men in
Mm-hmm.
business. So I'm a big component of women learning to really tap more into their rather than intelligence, and that being a force of their femininity that's powerful and can create much more results.
Now, okay, so this brings up an interesting point because for so long, and I've seen it having worked in corporate, there, when I was in corporate, there was a lot of competition among women because there
Mhm.
were so few positions for women available in the corporate world. So there was always this competition among women and clawing and fighting at it for that. And then on another factor around women in corporate is having to adopt these masculine qualities because femininity doesn't play well. It's not good in the boardroom, and you can't show your emotions in the boardroom. And I think we're seeing a shift in that, which is great. It's necessary, but there's still a lot of women who are in their masculine because they feel that they have to adopt that. And then on the other side of that, there is the women who embrace that and become that masculine, adopt their masculine qualities. Oh, she's a bitch. She's just trying to get ahead and she doesn't give a shit. And so it's a double edged sword for women. It's hard, I
It's
would
hard.
imagine.
Yeah, it's hard. And to be fair, like I've never had to experience that, thankfully, but I've seen it. So I'm
Yeah.
aware of it. I'm not blinded to it. And I think it goes back to the state of being versus
Right.
performing. So if you really know who you are as a woman and you know your strengths as a professional woman, I don't think you're really sitting there to compete with the men and really adopting their behavior.
Right.
Rather, being emotionally intelligent, what it means is having self-awareness. It actually means having resilience, and it means having empathy. So if you have those three, right, and you're aware of who you are and you're in a state of being, those threads are not going to move you. Now, there's been times, of course, you have to be competitive and maybe you need to
Yeah.
bring more of that masculine energy.
Mhm.
At the core of how you communicate, at the core of how you observe, that should be from an emotional intelligence perspective rather than just intelligence. Because I'll give you an example. So if I had a client and they're looking for a new job, for example, most of the conversations are around, okay, what can this job offer me? There's a lot of these like status
Right.
requirements. That's an intelligent person would take the best paying job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would utilize their skills.
Yeah.
Now let's look at it from an emotional intelligence perspective.
Mhm.
They'll look at the value that the company truly embraces. They'll look at the environment. They'll look at the culture. They'll see, is this a fit for me in my life? And then they'll make a decision based on that internal alignment of their value versus fit. So it just comes to how you're making decisions. I think the outcome should always be best choice, right?
Yeah.
But it's the process of how you're making decisions. So I've been able to sit in meetings and important board meetings using my emotional intelligence, capture and catch things that the clients were indirectly saying and share it because I'm tapped into my EQ.
Right.
I'm not in this IQ headspace. I'm in that when I need to do, but for the
Yeah.
most part, dealing with people, it's emotional intelligence, in my
Yeah.
opinion, that gets you far.
Love it. I love that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Very important. What is something about empowerment in the coaching space that you think is being done wrong or just isn't even working anymore?
There is such thing as toxic positivity. I think this idea of just being positive,
Be happy all the time.
be happy. It's not life. Life is hard. Life is
Yeah.
challenging. And yes, you should have a positive mindset for sure. I don't want to take that away. I think for me, gratitude is probably the most realistic, powerful, positive emotion that you could embrace versus just being positive. But there are moments where you do need to like suck it up and be positive.
Yeah.
But this idea of just positivity, and there's, I think, a sense of it being a bit toxic that I
Yeah.
think in the coaching industry it becomes a bit like gimmicky for me.
Yeah.
And I personally wouldn't hire a coach if they just right away said, oh, you got to be positive. It's just not reality. It's not life.
No, it's not. Life is life. And as a friend of mine always says, so you have to, there are going to be moments where you struggle and you can't be happy all the time. It's impossible. We are emotive beings. We have a range of emotions. So you cannot be happy all the time. And the gratitude piece ties back to the manifestation piece that we talked
Right.
about. Gratitude is such an important piece of manifestation. You have to be grateful for the things you have. And even the smallest things you have to be grateful for. If you can express gratitude, that will go a long way in terms of manifestation as well.
I agree. Could not agree more.
What's the first truth a woman needs to face when she says she wants to transform her life, but doesn't even know where to begin?
I think we talked a little bit about it, but basically, no one's going to rescue you. No one's going to save you. I think that's a big understanding, especially with the women that I coach that are in their 20s, early 30s. There seems to be this loss of identity where they're just confused. They're not where they want to be in life. They're going through, again, their own self discovery journey. But really, it's reminding them the power that they really have to make decisions in their life and control the decisions in their life and not lean towards others and not allow others to make decisions for them. But really, it's understanding themselves and knowing that no one will save them. They got to get in this headspace of being their own savior and their own supporter. They're number one, at least.
Yeah, for sure. That damsel in distress character is long gone. It doesn't fare well. You have to look out for yourself. You have to put yourself first. But again, this ties into more conditioning with women in particular, where they have been taught and conditioned to believe that, no, you have to put everyone else ahead of you first. Then you get the scraps, you get what's left over. No, It's the exact opposite. You have to put yourself first in order to be able to step into your full potential, step into who you truly are, to be able to give to those around you who you want to give to, who you want to support, who you want to help. Because if you're not doing that, if you're not putting yourself first, you have nothing left to give
Yeah.
to the most important person that needs it, and that's you.
So true. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's a mindset shift and being able to step into that and identify with that personality trait.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do get pushback or resistance because there is this thought process in their head where it's, I don't want to be selfish. A lot of women have responsibilities, right? They're caregivers, they're taking care of their children.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy step for them to step in that full, it's all about me, but I think it's starting small. And I think that's where really the importance is. And it's understanding if they're good, everyone else around them is good. They're just better caregivers or lead or whatever that they want to be.
Yeah, for sure. Better. It's betterment all around. I think that it starts with them. It starts with their immediate space. It starts with their, then it goes out to the community. Then it goes out even further and it just ripples out to everybody. I think that when women, if more women could step into doing that, you know how much better this fucking world would be?
Oh,
It would be a completely different world if
be
more women
powerful.
could step into that, where they shed that conditioning of self-care as selfish and putting myself first as selfish. That means even putting yourself before your kids sometimes, because you just have to in order to be the mother that you need to be for your kids. And it just ripples out to everything: your kids, your husband or wife, your partner, whatever you want to call it, your friends, your community, your job. You will perform much better. All of these things are affected by it. That's how important it is.
It's so true. It's very true. And I couldn't agree more.
But like you said, it's very hard to step into that and break those chains of the conditioning that women have been brought up with. So I love that you shared, start small, start with something small. That's where you have to begin. As long as you're taking a step forward towards that, then you're doing good.
Exactly. Yeah. No, small actionable steps. I think that's
Yeah,
key.
for sure. If I looked at your life 5 years ago and compared it to today, what would surprise me about what would surprise me the most about who you've become?
My level of compassion has definitely been significant in my growth journey. I think growing up, I had this mindset of work hard, work smart, tough luck approach, where now I think my level of compassion and empathy, if anything, has broadened so much, whether it's personal or professional, much more where I didn't value this back then. I think I identified, like most of us, success with achievements, milestones. Now I identify it with my connections, with the values that I bring. So I think, although I was kind and nice, I never really lost that side and I was able to connect with humans. But now it's on a completely different level that looking back, I think, wow, I was ignorant to that kind of stuff.
You've adopted more of what you've been talking about is the EQ instead of the IQ and stepped more into that. And it helps to form deeper connections with people,
But even
which is key.
understand yourself.
Yeah.
Understand yourself. Even the people that I'm connecting with now, it's my energy is attracting different sorts
There
of
you
people.
go.
Yeah.
That's it. That is
Yeah.
it. How do you walk the tightrope between ambition and self-worth in your own life? And how do you teach women to stop attaching their value to achievement, as we've been talking about?
Yeah. So it goes back for me. I think one of my biggest shift or mindset shift from my self discovery journey was getting away from the significance. I think that was my leading value to now contribution to serving, to creating value. So I think, again, achievements are great and they could still be something that you look forward to, but that should not be the default purpose. Ironically enough, working in corporate, I would talk to young girls and mentor them. And I would ask them, like, what do you aspire to be or and how do you want to grow? And they always shared like they wanted to grow up the corporate ladder. And I would ask why. And they couldn't really respond and give me a genuine answer. It was just subconsciously like their dream or what they think they want to do. And now being maybe 10 years ahead of them, I know the hustle and the and the requirements and the loss of time with family that you have to endure. So it's really, again, we're chasing this life of significance, which
Mhm.
maybe logically makes sense, but going back to contributing and creating value for yourself and having that be your default state of being, you're going to naturally attract achievements, but it's going to be the other way around. And the achievements you're going to attract are not going to determine your self-worth. Your
Right.
value will determine your self-worth. They're just going to be really nice to have. Who doesn't like
Yeah.
achievements at the end
Oh,
of
of
the day?
course, absolutely. But I think that's incredibly wild that when you'd ask these girls, these younger girls, why, and they
Yeah.
couldn't give you an answer. And you think about it, is I would think that it's because this is just what they've been told to do. This is what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They
So
haven't been shown a different way.
exactly. It's that traditional climb to success, right? Go to
Hmm.
school,
Yep.
get a good job, work up the ladder. Oh, and I would sit there and really in a endearing way, just
Hmm.
curiosity, because I
Yeah.
find the younger generation so fascinating and intelligent, but they
Hmm.
lack experience, right? So
Yeah.
it's really understanding what their motive and intentions are. And obviously I was not out of space to coach them at that time. Anything future, I think they're still going back to clarity. Clarity comes from experience, not thought.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
allowing them to have their own journey, but internally seeing myself in them.
Just wild. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So if you had to distill everything you've learned down to one sacred lesson about becoming who you were born to be, what is that one lesson?
Ooh, I think so. One thing that I'm exploring this year for me is not everything needs to have an understanding. Maybe we just need to feel things and go through it and move
Hmm.
on. So there is this concept of allowing life and allowing your feelings and just going through them.
Hmm.
You don't need to understand and dissect every little thing. I think there are important things in life you need to do that for, but
Yeah.
really it's understanding that life is about feelings, not prioritizing feelings. When life is hard, you gotta move through it.
Yeah.
But really, it's getting those feelings in and moving forward versus spending time understanding and dissecting. And you just don't need to understand everything. The universe is
Hmm.
greater and life happens for you. So just keep moving forward.
There's also the dangerous piece around that with not letting the feelings wash through you and just tamping them down, which is not good either. That's not good for you, most importantly, because at some point, it's all going to come out and it's going to explode. And so I think sitting, as you mentioned, sitting with those feelings, letting them come through you, but learning to do that, but also not staying stuck in those feelings.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's moving through them, but acknowledging them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is one belief about yourself that you outgrew, but held on to it for too long out of fear or familiarity?
Probably that I'm not good enough. I think that's a big one. I think it's a common one.
Hmm.
I think I was overcompensating by the amount of effort I was putting into things that in reality were not really things that I wanted anyways. But it was this proving it to myself and proving it to others as if others were really sitting there watching how much work I was doing. So there was this, I think, belief internally tied back to self-worth that I
Hmm.
wasn't enough or I had to do more in order to be recognized. So it would probably be that, which I think is most common with most people. It's that feeling not enough.
And so, what was the shift for you? What caused that shift to realize, first of all, that, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. This is not right. And I need to change. What was that moment for you?
So again, going back to, I think my professional journey was a big one because that's
Hmm.
when really I was able to see my skills and strengths in practice. But I've had moments where I've, I'm going to say performed and I did okay. And then I had moments where really I was just being myself. I was almost even so tired. I didn't have energy to perform, yet that attracted more. So
Hmm.
there was a few of those moments, both in my professional and personal life,
Okay.
where I was exhausted, burnt out. I was just being me. And it was the universe or energetically people just connecting with me more.
Mhm.
And it just had a greater impact. So I think there was a few of those moments versus
Yeah.
just again work
Yeah.
and experiences.
Okay. What is one quiet truth that you live by that no one really talks about in the empowerment space, but you wish that more women were aware of and knew?
So, empowerment to me is about self realization and
Mhm.
internal alignment. I've joined many groups of women empowerment and everybody's cheering everybody on. And I think in theory that sounds great, but really we're all left more lost. So there has to be, I think, more conversations around what empowerment really is and how we're supporting and lifting each other up. And it comes down to self realization, really, and helping people maybe in their path, whether it's through connected relationships, people who are going through the same thing, whether it's through
Mhm.
mentorship. I think there needs to be more emphasis on that self realization versus just this cheery, nice to have word where we're all in the same room because we all sort of believe in empowerment.
Right. This buzzword.
Exactly. It really is starting to lose its meaning. And what I do is actually an empowerment coach. And it took me a year and a half to put that on my title
Yeah.
because that word to me has lost meaning. But really now I think it's my job to really make that more significant in the sense of what I'm actually creating in a value perspective.
Yeah. Love it. How do you personally reconnect with your own power when life knocks you on your ass?
Recently that happened. And we were talking right before we started recording that I took a trip. So I will ground myself in nature. I love the beach. I like going for walks. Seems to give me perspective and seems to give me some sort of peace that this too shall pass. It's a good
Mhm.
reminder to ground yourself. And I make an effort every day. I have three priorities every day.
Mhm.
One of them is self care.
Okay.
It's non negotiable. And I go to the gym every day almost, or go for a walk. So move my body. And I think that's been able to help me just remain peaceful in a sense and still on my path on to success or to my career success.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing to have is some non-negotiables that get you out, get you moving, get your mind work, whatever it is. I have what I call my MMJ practice: movement, meditation, and journaling every day. That's non negotiable. I have to do those things every day. And like for you, going to the gym or getting out for a walk, as you don't have to go to the gym. If that's your thing, great. But as long as
Exactly.
you're out moving your body and getting out into nature, getting fresh air, and stepping away from the computer for a little while just to give yourself a break.
So important. Exactly. And I've done enough and gone through enough burnouts that I know when I'm getting tired and feeling it,
Mhm.
I right away do something about it. There's nothing more important than my health and my mental
For
state.
sure.
So it's taking that actionable step and knowing yourself
Mhm.
is really important.
Yeah, for sure. If your purpose had a shape, a sound, or a texture, how would you describe it?
Silk. I know this one. So I thought about it. I think silk would probably best describe not only my preferred fabric or texture, but there's a lot of grace in silk, but there's
Mhm.
a lot of strength. And for me, those two are very important, even in my identity and who I've always been and who I'm shining to be more of. So definitely, I'd say silk.
Love that. If your message became a movement, what would it stand for and what would it burn down?
It, it would probably have to be that emotional intelligence will get you further in life. There's something to be said that you can get more out of honey than vinegar. And being able to emotionally express yourself, express your needs, that's a big,
Mm.
big one, especially with women.
Yeah.
They think they know how to express their needs, but they don't.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I would think emotional intelligence, I think will get you so far in life.
Okay.
Yep.
If you could leave every woman listening to to this podcast with one truth, one sacred message from everything that you've lived, learned, and led that would help her to rise into and step into the fullest version of herself, what would you say right now from your heart to hers?
I would remind women that mentally strong women focus on their strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses. Don't worry about your failures. Just keep focusing on your strengths, and that's how you move forward. That would probably be one of the biggest recommendations I would have.
Powerful message. Because we tend to focus on our weaknesses. I think that this is also another piece of conditioning for everyone, not just women, but men too, that you think about school. When we're in school, if you're really good at, let's just say for the sake of argument, math, but you're not so proficient in English or science, or we need to work on the English and the science and not focus on the math. How about we just shift things and let's focus on your skill, on your what you're good at, and build on that. You don't have to be, nor can you be, good at everything.
Yeah.
You can't be an expert in everything. So let's focus on what you are very good at and get you incredible at that, get you even better at that. And then there's the failure piece. I failed at this. I failed at that. I can't do this. And failures are just stepping stones to becoming successful. You have to go through the failures in order to grow and succeed. It's a matter of whether you're able to take the lessons, because there's always a silver lining in every situation, no matter how shitty it is at the time. There's always a lesson for you to extract, to take forward, to move on, and to grow past that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would have to say, Brad, I'm one of those coaches where I don't believe in working in your weaknesses. I do believe in opening your horizons to your blind spots, being aware, but really all the energy that I'm guiding my clients is investing in their strengths, because you'll tap into your strengths quite often. You'll enjoy doing things that you're good at. And it's, again, you look at some of the most successful people in the world, they don't care about general knowledge. They don't care. They don't care about weaknesses. They're focusing and hyper focusing on what they're good at. So I think that's lost a little bit of its meaning right now, where everyone's like, oh, I need to be better at this and that. Like, be basic at stuff.
Sure.
Like, be conversational. But a lot of your energy, like I talk a lot about energy efficiency in my coaching, that should be tapped into your strengths.
For sure. Agreed 100%. What is one of the most important things that you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? And what was your life like after you learned it?
I'm going to have to say the self-worth understanding. Yeah. So I genuinely thought what I was doing came out of a sense of self-worth. Now looking back, I think it was confidence. I think it was a little bit of being influenced by society, family members, friends, having this idea of comparison, all that. Really, I could not have been more further away from my actual self-worth at that time. But now it's really understanding, who am I without anything? Can I walk in a room with my head held high without being anything? Yes. Do I have value to create? Yes. And it's really take away everything that I've achieved. I have the confidence and self-worth to know I'll do it again. So really,
I love that.
Yeah. But don't take away my stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It really is this understanding, this real raw understanding of who you are and what you truly want, and not negotiating that for anything.
Yeah. Now, speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
So success for me is living a life that you don't want to escape from.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It really has, it really has taken me, and I think I'm still on my journey to understanding what success is. I think having the right relationships is so important. That connection piece is so important. The piece of purpose is so important. Once you have those two, I think, and of course, internal alignment, once you have that, you create a life that you don't want to escape from. You love it. You're really creating your dream life when you have those.
Yeah. And what is, I know you touched on it and I'd love to hear it again, your definition, or what the word empowerment means to you personally.
Probably would have to mean self-realization. Of course, there's components of self-awareness there, but self-realization, and from there, being empowered to go forward for whatever it is that you want. You know, there is this concept that I teach a lot, and it helps with imposter syndrome, because unfortunately, it does happen in women quite often. But there is this solution to being a humble realist. So you're humble, but you're a realist, and that kind of gives you this understanding of life, that life is about trying versus winning. You want to win, you want to be challenged, but really it's coming back down to that person who's self-realized, or who has been done self-realization work, and who is a humble realist. And to me, that's more empowering than someone who's lived life perfectly and achieved everything. That would have to be my definition.
Okay. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing. Okay. How would you describe yourself in one word?
I would say grace.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
Working out.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
To really understand their values.
What is one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Time.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
My ability to understand people.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My resilience.
What is one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
Integrity.
Love it. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. Zerina, if you could take one feeling or one belief and bottle it up and give it to people, what would it be?
Ooh. So I'm going to say something based on one of the biggest challenges that I see working with women. And that would be that uncertainty is a good thing. Uncertainty seems to cause a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety, depression to many people. And to have this thought that you can predict certainty is a little bit foolish. So really, it would be to talk about uncertainty in a more exciting way and to set yourself up for success for uncertainty. It goes back to really tapping into your strengths, knowing your core values, and just taking life as it comes. It's just so much more exciting. It would be to relook at that word that when I say majority of my clients is what they fear, it's shifting that mindset to, okay, I got this. Let's go.
Yeah. If you could have any 3 people at your dinner table, alive or dead, sitting with you, who would they be and why?
My grandmother would be one. She has passed, but she was extremely progressive for her time. And she was a woman who unfortunately didn't get a chance to have education, but to have her level of resilience and progressiveness, I think has made me the woman I am today. So I would love to have her sit there and just listen to her. Often wish I had that time to just listen and take wisdom from her. She would be one of them. Candace Owens. I'm a big fan of her. I've been a fan of her for many years before she even now became extremely popular. I really align with her values, just being a woman who values family and values integrity, and she's excellent as a journalist. So I really have a lot of respect for her. She'd be another one. And then the third one, probably, I would say Brene Brown. She's one of so vulnerability is something I'm still learning, and she would be just a great person who I highly respect to just really go deeper into that.
Okay. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Why did I get into coaching?
Okay. There you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think when I first told people I was an executive working for this really cool technology company, and then I told people I wanted to be a coach, and I didn't tell anybody. I sat on it for a year. I got my credentials. I did my training. I put in all the work, and then I told everybody what I wanted to do, and everybody looked at me like, you crazy. So I think it started from this desire, this passion, this really wanting to create value to society, even this little bit of ego in me that wanted to just go out there and help women and do all that. And I was inspired by my own journey, and also inspired by the lack of relevant content out there that's actually effective. And starting my coaching journey, it was a slow start because I think integrity was really big for me. And I had to learn so much outside of just what the typical credentials you get.
Yeah.
So really seeing my passion after a couple of years just continue to grow, and my ability to continue to connect with women and help them through their self-discovery journey has probably been the most fulfilling moments in my life to date.
Wow.
And I really think it's so powerful and I'm going to say this is a passion, but really I think it's my core strength, being able to connect with these women and guide them has been just so fulfilling. So fulfilling.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It would be to appreciate experiences more. Going back to, I was someone who was highly intelligent, so I really relied on logic a lot. But again, clarity comes from experiences, not logic.
Mhm.
And it would be to just go through the experiences, take it for what it is, and keep moving forward. This concept of moving forward is really important to me. I think people that are thinking about the past tend to have more depression, emotional reactions. People that are anxious are too worried about the future. And then people that are present are actually focused on the present. So if I could recommend a second piece of advice besides how you really get to clarity, and that's through experiences, that's to just remain in the present moment. And if you are feeling depressed or anxious, it's just because you're shifting the timing from either thinking in the future too ahead or thinking in the
Mhm.
past too much. So just keep moving forward and stay in the present moment.
That's all we have is this present moment. The past is gone. You cannot go back and change it. It's impossible. It's already done. Yes, you can go back and look at the past to, again, take lessons forward from it, the mistakes you've made, the failure, whatever you want to call it. But it's done. You can't go back and change it. So it's useless. It's wasted energy to sit and lament and ponder and think about it in that way and to keep going on and on about it. You can't change it. And then the future, it's not even here yet. You're worrying
Yeah.
about something that hasn't even happened. And we all do it. Absolutely. We all do it.
Yeah.
But all we have is this present moment. Live here because you never know what you're going to miss. If you're living in the future or you're living in the past, you're going to miss a whole thing that's right in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds so easy. And honestly,
It's
Brad,
not.
I get it, but the importance of it, I don't think is talked about enough, of
Sure.
being in the present moment. And it goes back to building that resilience, knowing your strengths to deal with the
Mhm.
uncertainty with the future. To think that we have control to know what the future holds is insane.
Yes.
It
It
really is
is.
insane, but we
Yeah.
believe it. And that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not trying to be trite or make it sound easy. Oh, just forget about the past. And what do you worry? No, it's hard. It is not easy to be in the present. We all struggle with it. I struggle with it. I'll be honest. I admit it. I struggle with it, but it is
Yeah.
so important that you do that work and work on living in the present moment because you will miss so much of life if you're not there in the present moment. And it is all we have. There's nothing else because you're
Yeah.
not promised tomorrow. Nobody is.
Exactly.
You don't even know if you're going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So live now and enjoy the time you have here now and just live life to the fullest. You only get one shot at this life. Make it the best fucking life you possibly can because you are able to. You have the ability to do that. So do it. And again, it's not easy. I'm not trying to make it sound easy. Just do it. But what other choice do you have?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I love that.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1 hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I would probably be my grandmother. Yeah, she was very significant in my life. She passed when I was in my early 20s, so I think I was sad because I loved her, but I didn't understand the impact she really had
Hmm.
and the strength. Even women in that generation, even women my mother's generation, the level of strength, the level of endurance that they had to go through. And then I look at my generation, and not in a comparison way, but really how mentally weaker we are and how what those women had to go through and how they were able to protect and preserve their family and do what's best. I would love to just sit with her. And when I tell you just listen to her and take some wisdom, because now being at the stage in my life, and although I'm still growing and learning, I would have loved to just have her wisdom and have that moment with her a little bit longer.
That's beautiful. Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
I would say that life is passing by really quick, and the decisions you make are going to be important. If you're not being intentional, you're missing out so much time, so much potential. So, really taking the step back to understand who you are is relevant, whether that means you take a couple of weeks, a month, get support from a therapist, a coach, a mentor, it doesn't matter. Just really do the work because time will fly by And if you're not doing what your greater purpose is or what your true value is, you're just missing time and you're going to keep repeating patterns over and over again.
Beautifully said. A wonderful way to end the interview. Zerina, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Every minute of it has been inspiring and powerful. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience, and for being a guest here today. And it has been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on the show and just be able to sit down and speak with you and share in your journey. And I am honored to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Zerina Derveni. She is a highly respected life coach who is dedicated to empowering women to unlock their fullest potential. Thank you so much, Zerina. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca. Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.